Part 172. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1711. Zujdun, the saint of the Temple of the Alliance of Light, turned gloomy and cold for a while. While talking, his gaze towards Fangfan gradually became extremely fierce. And looking at Wuzu, the head of the Bright Knights Legion, there was also a hint of threat in his eyes. Fangfan stood there calmly, his face unchanged, and he didn't think there was any problem from the beginning to the end. He just wants to get back what he deserves. What's wrong? As for Wuzu, the head of the Bright Knight Legion, his face was already flushed. An inexplicable sense of shame echoed in his mind, gradually devouring his dignity. Once upon a time, he once ordered his soldiers to be honest and trustworthy, not to covet the military exploits of their comrades in arms, to watch and help each other, to be brave after knowing their shame. But what about his army commander? How did he do it? Wuzu closed his eyes silently, and when he opened them again, a determined look appeared on his face. Everything is me chasing after the wind. For the sake of military exploits, I deliberately said that I destroyed the Dark Temple branch of Demon Heart City, but from the beginning to the end, it has nothing to do with me. The Bright Knight Legion has never passed through Demon Heart City. Everything is my fault. Wuzu knelt down on one knee, the armor on his body clanging, and his words were full of courage. I don't know why, but after finishing everything, he suddenly relaxed a lot, and his whole body became blissful. This feeling is what he likes the most, and it makes him feel intoxicated from the bottom of his heart. Asshole. Zujdun, the sage of the Temple of the Alliance of Light, looked ugly for a while. He had already hinted so clearly, why didn't he understand? Can't understand? Or is it intentional? Now everyone is thinking about going against him. Zujdun, the saint of the Temple of Light, thought to himself, and the expression on his face became more and more gloomy. How dare you pretend to be the leader of the army? Shameless. How come you are such a scum in the Temple of the Alliance of Light? Are you still ashamed to call yourself a follower of the gods of light? Zujdun held his head high and held his chest high, what he said was majestic. But in fact, everything is bullshit. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that Wuzu, the commander of the Bright Knights Legion, is actually a scapegoat. All arrangements are to follow this Zujdun saint. In the end, he really couldn't hide it anymore, everything was about to collapse, and he took over all the responsibilities, and chose to become a receiver. From now on, you are no longer the head of the Light Knight Legion. Escort me to the court. Judgment immediately. Zujdun, the saint of the Temple of the Light Alliance, gritted his teeth, and his eyeballs were about to burst open. Now that the matter has come to this, he must show an attitude. Besides, he is extremely dissatisfied with the performance of Wuzu, the head of the Bright Knight Legion, and wants to take this opportunity to punish him properly. Wuzu stood where he was and didn't refute, as if he had given up completely. Report, the army of the Dark Camp is pressing up again, and the east and south cities are in danger. The messenger flew over from a distance and reported the current battle situation. The current Holy City of Light is still surrounded by the elite army of the Dark Camp. It is still unknown whether they can hold the Holy City of Light, but they are fighting for merit here. You two saints, I am willing to lead the Light Knight Legion to help. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1712. Wuzu, the head of the Bright Knights Corps, changed his expression, and immediately followed suit. The crisis situation on the battlefield could no longer tolerate any delay. You are no longer the head of the Bright Knight Legion. You have no right to dispatch the Bright Knight Legion. Zujdun waved his hand and said indifferently. Sage Zuj, the head of the Wuzu army, is familiar with the Bright Knights after all, So why not let him lead the troops to help the east and south cities? With the assistance of the Bright Knight Legion, it will definitely be no problem to defend the city. If we delay any longer, something will really go wrong. The overall situation is the most important. Dongguo Sage Dongguo Shuo subconsciously frowned, and then said rather urgently. At this moment, naturally, there should be no slack. I said, he is not the commander of the Legion now. I am the commander-in-chief of the campaign. Who would dare to disobey my orders? Zujdun waved his hand, completely immersed in the anxious state of the crowd. While talking, his face became darker. Sage Zuj, I also need to remind you that I am the deputy commander of the campaign. When I doubt your order, I can still ask you to change it. Otherwise, if something happens, on the Pope's side, do you think you can get by? Otherwise, we will go to the Pope to clarify now. It's already on fire. Why are you still putting on momentum here? Saint Dongguo snorted coldly, and while talking, his eyes became more and more sharp. At this moment, he was no longer obsessed with certain details. The overall situation is the most important thing, don't you understand this truth? Fang Fan stood aside, just watching these two saints quarreling with each other. The higher the circle, the more chaotic it is. Fang Fan sighed, inexplicably feeling that it was extraordinarily real. Relatively speaking, this feeling is becoming more and more intense at this moment. Saint Zuch stood aside with a gloomy face, his mood extremely bad. As the commander-in-chief of the campaign, he was disobeyed time and time again, questioned time and time again, and even, had to go to the Pope's crown. Isn't this a grandiose way to tell the Pope that his ability is limited and he cannot control the overall situation? You, go and help Dongcheng and Nancheng. If Dongcheng and Nancheng are lost, I will be the first to kill you and sacrifice the flag. Saint Zuch yelled secretly, and roared directly at Wuzu, the head of the Bright Knight Legion. He wanted to clear away all the depression in his heart through this roar. Obey. Wuzu, the head of the Bright Knight Legion, sighed softly, then cupped his hands and said, then cast a grateful look at Saint Dongguo beside him. On the one hand, I am grateful for allowing him to continue to lead the army to fight, to help the battlefield, and to maintain the stability of the battle. On the other hand, I am also grateful for allowing him to commit crimes and make meritorious deeds. Otherwise, at this moment he is already on the way to be escorted to the tribunal. The whole army is ready for war. Swear to the death to defend the holy city of light. Saint Zuch soared into the air and issued a death order. Fang Fan's eyes scanned the surrounding area, the city wall was under current surging, and a new round of war had begun. Master Dongguo Saint, I am willing to fight to the death to defend the holy city of light. Please Lord Saint guide me in the direction of the battle. This is a good opportunity to gain impression points, Fang Fan strode out and said firmly. Now that he has returned to the holy city of light, it will not be long before he becomes an official and a nobleman. Naturally, he can't ignore the matter of finishing the job. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1713. Good, very good. Fang Fan Supervisor. Your Temple of War Honor will never forget. Go and help Nancheng, let's work together and fight to the end. Saint Dongguo immediately issued an order, and the Battle of the Gods is basically the most critical moment at this point. If the Holy City of Light can be defended, there is still time to talk about everything. Once the Holy City of Light is breached, there is naturally no need to fantasize about the future. In fact, for the army of the Dark Camp, they also want to make the final impact. The most elite Light Knight Legion of the Temple of the Light Alliance was sent out before, so there was a certain gap in strength, but at this moment, the Light Knight Legion has returned, and it is not so easy for the Dark Camp's army to rush in. The closer it is to the last moment, the more it can inspire the spirit of fighting against the enemy. When he came to Nanjing, what Fang Fan faced was the soldiers of the Dark faction who were constantly attacking. With a glance at the past, there is no end in sight. The Low Heavy Machine Gun Corps provides fire support. The Yellow Turban Warlock Legion is responsible for summoning skeleton soldiers. The rest of the major legions disperse and fight. The 308th Bronze Legion is guarding the front, the Emperor's Legion is guarding the left side, and the Warrior Slave Legion is in charge of the battlefield on the right. War. The blood was poured on his body, inexplicably arousing the hidden combat power in his body. Another 1-star sanctuary. 10,000 contribution points. Continue. A holy promotion card burst out. A holy food card burst out. The battle went on for days. Gradually, the army of the Dark Camp also became a little weaker, but the offensive became more and more rapid. It seems to be wanting to make a final gamble. Like desperate gamblers, they gambled all their fortunes. On the wall of Guangming Holy City, Fang Fan stood indifferently on the top of the city. With the fierce battle for several days, the contribution points accumulated in Fang Fan's bright contribution order have also increased. It has broken through 20 million contribution points. It's so terrifying. I got tens of millions of contribution points at once when I destroyed the branch of the Dark Temple in Demon Heart City. With the hard work of the past few days, coupled with the fact that Galen and others have transferred all the contribution points to my bright contribution token, so many contribution points have been accumulated without knowing it. Fang Fan sighed softly, and the smiles on the corners of his mouth became more and more frequent. If all the 20 million contribution points are exchanged for star cores, there will be 20 million pieces. If they are exchanged for the source power of gods, there will be 200,000 threads, or 2,000 strands. It's still a little less. Fang Fan sighed softly. The source of God is the absolute core existence even in the temple of the Alliance of Light. Retreat, retreat. The Dark Temple has retreated. The messengers were running around the holy city of light to tell each other, looking very excited. The Dark Temple army outside the holy city of light retreated suddenly like a tide. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes secretly, with a more or less puzzled look on his face. The Temple of Darkness, are you willing to retreat? Through the battle situation in the past few days, he can still see some things more or less. For example, the Dark Camp really wants to wipe them all out. Such a will has become clear from the beginning. Breaking through the holy city of light will completely win the battle of the gods, and those people in the Dark Temple cannot be unmoved. Retreat. Isn't it a failure? Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1714. Under the Holy City of Light, in the central barracks of the Dark Camp. Damn. Withdraw at this time, our loss is too great. What is the Pope thinking? Didn't you tell the Pope about our situation here? Give me another week, and I will definitely be able to take down the Holy City of Light and wipe out those people in the Temple of the Light Alliance one by one. Retreat at this time. Who will be responsible for our previous losses? The Along Saint from the Dark Temple let out a roar. His eyes were filled with murderous intent, and the vicious expression on his face was beyond words. While talking, he couldn't help but clenched his hands tightly, and violent words came out of his mouth. Master Along Saint, this is an order from the Pope. Do you want to disobey it? This is the realm of the gods ordered by the dark gods. The ruins of the gods have been opened early, and the fruit of the gods has matured. The face of the Saint Zhuokyo of the Dark Temple standing aside gradually showed a heavy expression. The ruins of the gods, opened. The divine fruit is already ripe? How is it possible? According to the previous practice, it will take at least a year for the divine fruit to mature. This time, how did it become like this? Where did the deviation appear? Could it be that the gang of old things in the Temple of the Alliance of Light didn't follow the rules? They made a move secretly. Saint Along of the Dark Temple frowned, and gradually became quiet at this moment. He also knew what the current situation was like. The reason why he vented just now was mainly because he felt unwilling and wanted to roar. Now that the roar is over, he has gradually become silent. Sage Along, do you think this is possible? Even the ruins of the gods are areas that neither the dark gods nor the light gods can control. You know the value of the god fruit there, even the dark gods and the light gods value it quite a lot. This level treasure, what ability do you think those people in the Temple of the Alliance of Light have to make them mature early? I don't know what happened in the ruins of the gods this time. But no matter what, the battle of the god fruit in the ruins of the gods, we must win it all. There must be no spot accidents. Only by obtaining enough divine fruits, can we give birth to the next Holy One, so that our dark temple can remain invincible. As the saint on the left hill of the dark temple spoke, his eyes flickered with brilliance, and he seemed quite excited. The value of the divine fruit is enough to make him so obsessed. Little friend Fang Fan, the war of gods has come to an end. The Dongguo saint wants you to go to the temple of priesthood to receive the reward. My friend Fang Fan is outstanding in this battle of the gods. I'm afraid he will be promoted to a higher level. Hey, you are the fastest growing alternative I have ever seen. Nan Gonglei, the red-clothed archbishop of the Temple of the Alliance of Light, said with a somewhat envious look in his eyes. If it were in the past, envy would definitely not exist. He thought he was a third-rank archbishop in red, and his identity was there. But now this feeling has completely changed. Nangonglei is not quite sure when Fang Fan will follow the rise and take off directly, and then the back waves of the Yangtze River will push the front waves, and the front waves will be shot to death on the beach. He, the Cardinal Archbishop of the third rank, does not seem to be so popular now. Looking at it comprehensively, Fang Fan couldn't treat it with common sense at all. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1715. It's over. Is this the end? There is no sign of this at all. As Fang Fan followed Nangonglei and walked towards the temple of the priesthood, the astonishment on his face grew more and more. Apart from him, there is also Hot Spring, the head of the 308 Bronze Legion, who went to the temple of the priesthood this time. Although Fang Fan was mainly credited for destroying the branch of the Dark Temple before, Hot Spring was the head of the 308th Bronze Legion after all, so there was still some credit. Actually, I only found out about this matter an hour ago. The gods of light have issued an oracle, the ruins of the gods have been opened, and the fruit of the gods has matured. The truce now is naturally to enter the ruins of the gods and compete for the fruit of the gods. This is also the tacit understanding between the light camp and the dark camp. Once the ruins of the gods are opened and the fruit of the gods is ripe, they will choose to suspend the war and then fight for the fruit of the gods with all their strength. Nangonglei spoke, and then explained to the side. Fang Fan blinked in astonishment. Is there such a practice? This fruit of God is very precious. The look of doubt on Fang Fan's face was even worse. Precious? More than precious. Let's put it this way, every pope in our Temple of the Alliance of Light and the Temple of Darkness must have devoured the fruit of God. The fruit of the gods is the key to being promoted to the Holy Realm. When you reach the 8-star Sanctuary Realm, you will encounter a bottleneck that is difficult to overcome. How many Sanctuary Realms in ancient times have been blocked in the 8-star Sanctuary Realm? Even if they have practiced for millions of years, this bottleneck cannot be overcome. They always feel that something is missing. It was later discovered that only the 8-star Sanctuary who devoured the fruit of the gods could feel the opportunity to be promoted to the 9-star Sanctuary. The 9-star Sanctuary is also called the Holy Realm. It means the Supreme Venerable in the sanctuary. The one who can reach this level. Currently, in our Temple of the Alliance of Light, there is only one person under the Pope's crown. Every competition for the fruit of God is actually an opportunity to break the balance. Now the Temple of Darkness and our Temple of the Alliance of Light each have a saint-level powerhouse, but if one of the forces has one more, then the situation of the battle will be directly reversed. The joining of a powerful saint is better than several golden legions. As Nangonglei spoke, the light in his eyes flickered, obviously excited. Fang Fan secretly nodded at the side, secretly remembering. The fruit of God, the opportunity to be promoted to the 9-star sanctuary level Saint Venerable realm. Ding! The existence of the true God fruit has been detected, and the task seize is now released. Mission Introduction. The fruit of the true God is the fruit of the power of the true God. It condenses a trace of divinity and is priceless. Please enter the ruins of the gods and grab more than 3 fruits of the true God. Task time limit, 3 months. Mission reward, 100,000 wisps of God's origin power. 10 Holy Legion experience cards. Mission penalty, all legions will be reduced by 3 levels. Remarks, a true God fruit can upgrade a hero's quality from platinum to diamond, and raise the upper limit of his potential to the Holy Venerable. A series of system sounds came from the ear, and Fang Fan's expression gradually changed. Fruit of God. Fruit of the true God. These should all be the same existence. Even, mention the ruins of the gods. And the so-called rewards are also extremely rich. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1716. 100,000 strands of God's origin power, plus 10 Holy Legion experience cards. This reward is something. Fang Fan took a deep breath, and a look of excitement flowed in his eyes. 100,000 strands of God's source power is equivalent to tens of millions of God's source power, and it can even reach as much as 1 billion when converted into star cores. It is not an extremely terrifying number. As for the Holy Legion experience card, Fang Fan's eyes are even more envious. You must know that the Blood Shuro Legion used a Holy Legion card when they were in the low-level quasi-sacred realm, and they were directly promoted to the 1-star Holy Realm. In addition, the other 9 legions also shared a Holy Legion experience card in the low-level quasi-sacred realm and the middle-ranked quasi-sacred realm, and then all of them were promoted to the high-level quasi-sacred realm. A Holy Legion experience card even represents a Holy Land Legion to some extent. It has never been so clear on this point. The fruit of the true God, the fruit of the God, can also be used to upgrade the platinum quality hero to a higher diamond quality. Every piece of this pile seems to be full of surprises. At first, I really didn't pay much attention to the relics of the gods and the fruit of the gods, but now it seems, I really have to seize the opportunity. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, the corners of his mouth raised silently, and the excitement in his heart was beyond words. Just as Fang Fan was thinking, he followed the red-clothed Archbishop Nangonglei to the Temple of Priesthood. With a glance at the past, the Hall of Priesthood is densely packed with human heads. Now that the War of Gods has come to an end, Saint Dongguo is not only the Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the War of Gods, but also the head of the Temple of the Priesthood. Practitioners are punished. Go in and keep a low profile. It is said that today even the 2 gold-ranked commanders of the Suzaku Legion and the White Tiger Legion are here. By the way, there is also Wuzu, the head of the Bright Knight Legion. Nangonglei is worthy of being the old driver in the temple. He is very clear about the corresponding situation, and he is actually giving corresponding guidance to Fang Fan when he speaks. Fang Fan nodded secretly, followed Nangonglei silently and stood in an inconspicuous corner. On the high platform of the Temple of the Priesthood, the saints of Dongguo are talking loudly. For those of you who are able to come here today, you must all have a sense of apprehension or excitement in your heart. The war of the gods is temporarily suspended. You ask yourself, have you been loyal to the temple and do your best to fight for the war of the gods? Perhaps, you will have many, many reasons to justify your innocence. But here, I just want to see the result. I see that it is your cowardice and incompetence. It is your accusation and dissatisfaction with fate. But in the end you still choose to bear it? The head of the Suzaku Legion. The head of the White Tiger Legion. You each command hundreds of millions of elites in the temple, but what have you done? Actually, according to my intention, I will push you all to the end and dismiss you directly. I think you are unworthy of morality. Can you be unworthy? But His Majesty the Pope specifically asked me to spare you. You have stopped your salary for 100 years. Go back and reflect on yourself. Saint Dongguo strode straight up to a man and a woman, and then scolded without shame. Being able to get to the level of a gold-ranked legion commander is basically considered the top level of the temple. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1717. In the temple, that is, the saint and the pope can hold down these gold-level legions. But at the moment they are being reprimanded, they can only bear it silently. Fang Fan secretly squinted his eyes and glanced over. He wanted to get acquainted with the upper level of the Temple of the Alliance of Light as soon as possible. If you want to be a qualified undercover agent, and volunteer to lurk to become the ultimate boss of the temple, you still need to pay attention to all aspects. The head of the White Tiger Legion is a middle-aged man with sword eyebrows and starry eyes. His skin is very fair, strangely white, even ordinary women rarely have such fair skin. The head of the Suzaku Legion is a plump young woman, wearing a bright red armor, and there is a fiery red bursting feeling all over her body. Even with the armor on her body, it can be seen that she has an excellent figure and exquisite facial features. There was an air of a woman's beauty leaking from her body. Wait until one day I can also hold the strength of a golden legion. In this case, mastering the combat power of hundreds of millions of elite soldiers, the maneuverability will be even greater. The corners of Fang Fan's mouth were slightly raised, and the eyes were full of lights. Such thoughts boiled in his mind, and the sense of hope became stronger and stronger. The feeling of commanding hundreds of millions of elites, it should be very unusual. Fang Fan acts as Archbishop. Please come out. Just as Fang Fan was imagining, there was a sonorous and muffled hum, and he saw that Dongguo Saint looking straight at him. Fang Fan Dun felt a little dazed. Master Saint is calling you. Little friend Fang Fan, why are you in a daze? Nangonglei reminded from the side. Fang Fan raised his eyes in surprise, and the astonishment on his face became more and more. He thought it would be a long time before it was his turn. After all, this is the beginning of reprimanding the gold-ranked legion commander. There are also silver-ranked legion commanders and even a series of high-level clergy below, so it will be his turn, right? Master Saint. Fang Fan didn't have time to react, so he stepped forward and saluted Dong Qiushuo respectfully. In the temple, there are still some rules that must be followed. When Fang Fan stood in the front row, there were bursts of conversations from below. Who is this guy? Why have I never seen it before? Looking at his attire, could it be that he is the head or inspector of a silver-ranked legion? That's not right. I know all the silver-ranked regiment commanders or inspectors of the 4 major legions, and there is no such number. Didn't the Lord Saint call him Fang Fan to act as the Archbishop? Acting Archbishop? Deputy 4th rank priesthood. How is he qualified to stand up now? We 3rd rank cardinals and 2nd rank cardinals are still waiting. Hey! What's going on? Why didn't Saint Dongguo play cards according to the routine? There are endless discussions, giving people a very anxious and noisy feeling. Quiet. Saint Dongwo gave a cold snort, appearing very majestic. I know what you are thinking in your heart. I also know why you think so. It has been less than half a year since Fang Fan, the acting archbishop, joined our Temple of the Alliance of Light. But his great achievements are enough to make you ashamed. He personally led the elite under his command and the 308th Bronze Legion of the Azure Dragon Legion to seize the opportunity to destroy the Demon Heart City branch of the Dark Temple. He also killed a Dark Envoy, the deputy second-rank deputy cardinal of the Dark Temple. Now you guys, what else do you want to say? Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1718. Dongwo Saint's eyes scanned the surrounding area, and the domineering feeling continued to extend. Everyone looked at each other in blank dismay, a little panicked, a little curious, astonished and jealous. It turns out that the branch of the Dark Temple was destroyed by him, Grass. How lucky. If you destroy a branch of the Dark Temple on weekdays, you can see how difficult it is. When the War of Gods broke out, the elites of the Dark Camp gathered in our holy city of light, and let him miss it? Can you stop saying that grapes are sour if you can't eat grapes, and if you are jealous, what do you mean by saying this? I remember you were wandering around with a silver army back then. Why didn't you think of destroying a dark temple? What about the branch hall? I want to come back quickly to help. This guy is now taken by Lord Saint, damn it, he must be on his way. Who says it's not? I feel jealous just looking at it. Fang Fan squinted his eyes and stood on the spot. From the corner of his eye, he glanced around, taking in the attitudes of everyone, and the gleam in his eyes gradually closed. He also thought of this scene. It is mediocre not to be envied by others. If you become more eye-catching, it is normal to be envied. It can only be said that this is a routine operation. In view of Fang Fan's great achievements as the acting archbishop, after careful consideration by the temple's senior management, it has been decided to reward him with 10 million bright contribution points. Beyond that, I am exceptionally promoted to Deputy 3rd Rank Acting Archbishop in Red. Granted the uniform of Deputy 3rd Rank Acting Red-Clothed Archbishop. The position is promoted from the Inspector of the 308th Bronze Legion of the Azure Dragon Legion to the Deputy Director of the 3rd Department of the Tribunal. After being appointed together, everyone showed shocked expressions on their faces. This reward is too harsh, right? He was directly promoted from the acting archbishop of the 4th rank to the acting archbishop of the 3rd rank in red. A whole level has been raised. In the temple, it is generally extremely difficult to advance half a level. Whose priesthood level does not climb up step by step? An acting red-clothed archbishop like Fang Fan, who was directly promoted from deputy 4th rank acting archbishop to deputy 3rd rank acting archbishop, is somewhat shocking. More importantly, the Temple of the Alliance of Light has always been a place where seniority is judged. Even if you are capable, you usually have to wait for a while before you have a chance to be promoted. But from Dongwo Saint's words just now, everyone can hear that Fang Fan joined the temple less than half a year ago. Promoted directly to the position of the Deputy 3rd Rank's acting Cardinal Archbishop in half a year? This is really a rocket. I'll go, this is a rising star. What kind of background does this Fang Fan have? How dare you say that Dongwo Saint is cultivated in this way? Damn it, it can't be the descendant of Dongwo Saint's bloodline? Or, under the Pope's crown? Grass. You are crazy, even the Pope and the Saint Dongwo dare to arrange it, don't die. This is a real military exploit. Where can you reason? If you can destroy a branch of the Dark Temple, you can also be promoted to a higher level. Hey, it's so frankly cool to watch people get promoted. It took me hundreds of thousands of years to get to the position of Deputy 3rd Rank Acting Red-Clothed Archbishop, haha. Be safe and don't be impatient, Such an evildoer has only appeared in tens of thousands of years. Extraordinary promotion, it shows that Lord Dongwo Sage attaches great importance to him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1719. Everyone showed expressions of envy, jealousy, and hatred. Watching others live better than oneself, jealousy and envy, these are actually routine operations. According to his merits, it is understandable to be promoted from Deputy 4th Rank Acting Archbishop to Deputy 3rd Rank Acting Red-Clothed Archbishop. The most important point is that you haven't noticed, his priesthood as Deputy 3rd Rank Acting Red-Clothed Archbishop has directly become a ruling. The Deputy Director of the 3rd Department. There is no precedent for this before. Generally speaking, the Deputy Director of the 3rd Department of the Tribunal can only be held by a Cardinal in red at the 3rd rank, and even, the Acting Cardinal of the Deputy 2nd rank is only a Deputy Director. A notification sound suddenly came from the crowd, and everyone in the peak of the priesthood widened their eyes, and they were all shocked. They really didn't consider this before. If calculated in this way, there are exceptions and promotions everywhere. Master Dongguo. I think, unreasonable. Fang Fan joined the temple for too short a time. If he is promoted too quickly, he will inevitably provoke some gossip. I think, it's better to train them for a while at the grassroots level. Speaking of which, I personally recommended Fang Fan to Mr. Dongguo. I think it's not good for him to be promoted too quickly. Cardinal Duan Muding, Deputy 2nd Rank Acting Cardinal of the Temple of the Alliance of Light, suddenly stood up, looking very dark. He hasn't forgotten the enmity with Fang Fan. At first, he was coerced by Fang Fan because of accepting bribes. In desperation, he had no choice but to recommend Fang Fan to join the Temple of Light alliance with Nangong Lei. Since then, he also thought of some ways to get rid of Fang Fan, but the corresponding ones failed. From Duan Muding's point of view, I naturally don't want Fang Fan to be promoted too quickly, it will make him feel fear and panic from the bottom of his heart. It has only been less than half a year since he entered the temple, and he has already been promoted to the position of Deputy 3rd Rank Acting Red-Clothed Archbishop. If it is delayed for a few more years, won't he be able to sit on an equal footing with him? Thinking of this, Duan Muding's feeling of stalemate became more and more intense. If he could find an opportunity to suppress a wave of Fang Fan, he would naturally be very eager to see it. Standing in the hall, Fang Fan glanced at Duan Muding who was talking, and there was a sharp light in his eyes. This guy is a bit despicable. Can't see the promotion of labor and management? Jealous. Duan Mu acting as cardinal, this statement is wrong. I think that meritorious service should be rewarded, so why stick to those so-called qualifications and forms? Fang Fan acted as the Archbishop in red and successfully destroyed the branch of the Dark Temple. He has made outstanding achievements in battle and received the deserved reward. Isn't this what he deserves? Nangong Lei, the red-clothed Archbishop of the Temple of the Alliance of Light, stepped forward with narrowed eyes, and then said directly. Archbishop Nangong Hong I'm not saying no rewards, I just think the speed of promotion is too fast and it's not good for his character. If he can train for a while, and then grant important positions, it may be more conducive to his development. Duan Muding said something sinister, and pretended to be thinking of Fang Fan. Enough. This saint's decision has been made. Fang Fan will act as the Deputy Director of the 3rd Department of the Tribunal as the acting Archbishop in red. At the critical moment, Saint Dongguo shook his head and ended the topic directly. In his opinion, Fang Fan has become a member of his faction, so it is only natural to cultivate him well. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1720. Master Saint, I still feel a little inappropriate, I think. Duan Muting gritted his teeth and wanted to continue speaking. Shut up. What's wrong? If you can destroy a branch of the Dark Temple, I will directly promote you to be the acting bishop of the second rank. You can even give me the position of saint. But do you think you deserve it? Saint Dongguo cast his cold gaze over him, and it was already a direct reprimand. Duan Muting's complexion changed, and his face suddenly looked very ugly. He was reprimanded in public, and he was humiliated in front of everyone. This is naturally not such an honorable thing. Feeling it, there is an inexplicably strong sense of shame. The rules of our Temple of the Alliance of Light: meritorious deeds must be rewarded. Demerits must be punished. As long as you can have both, you will be promoted regardless of your qualifications or background. As for some people who want to do some tricks in the dark, don't let me find out. Otherwise, I will definitely not let it go. Saint Dongguo let out a cold snort, and scanned the surrounding area with a particularly strong sense of warning. Thank you, Lord Saint. Fang Fan lowered his head slightly, made a salute, and then stood up in his original position. At this time, the clergy naturally delivered the uniform of the deputy third-rank acting red-clothed archbishop. It was light red in color and engraved with some golden threads. It looked quite gorgeous overall. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being promoted to the level of the fourth-rank archbishop of the Temple of the Alliance of Light, and successfully completing the initial goal of the task latent. Ding! The reward for completing the initial goal is now released, 10,000 strands of the Source of God. A sacred artifact of the Growth Department. Ding! The initial goal of latent is completed, and the midterm mission of latent begins. Latent. Mission Introduction: go to the Temple of the Alliance of Light to lurk, become a priest of the Temple of the Alliance of Light, and make a fortune secretly. Initial goal: first get a fourth-rank Archbishop Dang Dang. Midterm goal: become a third-rank Cardinal. Later goal: become a third-rank Cardinal. A second-rank Cardinal. The ultimate goal: to become a first-rank Pope. Task time limit: indefinite. Task reward: initial goal, completed, midterm goal reward, Holy Card 10 consecutive draw chances *1, the host's cultivation level increased by 1 level. Later stage, ultimate goal reward, to be opened. Mission penalty: none. Remarks: as the supplier of the greatest one in the endless heavens, please carry out the lurking to the end. When you go undercover and become the ultimate boss of the other party, you are a god-slaying warrior. The initial goal was achieved. Fang Fan obtained 10,000 strands of the source power of God, and a sacred artifact of the growth system, all of which were placed in his system space. Correspondingly, the medium-term goal has also begun to progress. One chance to draw 10 holy cards in a row. Can you get 10 holy cards at once? Maybe 10 blank holy card promotion cards, or 10 Holy Legion experience cards, it varies. Enough, but the temptation is still there. In addition to this, you can also advance to a level of cultivation. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes secretly, with a more or less excited look on his face. Now he is a middle-level quasi-sage, and he has not been promoted for a long time, so it is difficult to continue to promote in a short period of time. The 6 heroes are limited to his cultivation base, so they are still only 1-star sanctuary realm, unable to break through.